Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Today, everyone is a product and everyone needs marketing to succeed. So let's talk about it right now on Marketing Unfiltered with award-winning creative expert Wendi Cooper and her co-host John Hamilton.
There we are.
Hi, Wendi.
Hey, John.
I'm back.
You do still hate the jingle.
I don't hate the jingle. You always say that. I actually like it. I do.
I just sent that off to Europe, and I said, "Make me something fun."
This is
what I wanted to say. It was $50, and they made that for me, and it was awesome.
Wow.
So I went with it. Yeah.
Well, it must be fancy if it's from Europe.
Absolutely.
You know?
It has that little cachet. So, okay, we are sorry to interrupt the regular programming.
We got business to get to.
Okay. Tony, yes, ma'am. Thank you for doing that last-minute fix for our sponsor. Thank you very much, because that's why we're late getting on air. Tony was there's so many back-to-back shows here. It's crazy here. We call it Triple Threat Tuesday night on UBN, because actually in the other studio there's like 5 crazy sports guys right now, talking sports for 2 hours. So
it's busy here in the studio
and
today,
it gets really crazy sometimes. So, but thanks for being here. It's a great night. I didn't introduce my guest yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
You must not acknowledge guests until you introduce.
Okay, so John, tonight's an exciting night because we have guests in studio.
Yes.
They have their entire entourage with them.
Yes.
And it's really exciting because they are actually shooting some reality footage.
Which I'm really I'm interested to hear more about that.
Right.
About, what's going on
so if people see anybody moving around, that's what it is. It's not people
for all of our viewers.
Purpose.
Yeah.
Right, little studio rats coming out. Okay, but let me introduce our guest.
Please.
All right. I actually, Ben Zifkin is here. He's CEO. Wait a minute.
You're giving me a microphone lecture?
Can you, Tony?
She needs to
1,
be
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
higher
7, 8.
than the
Okay.
rest of us.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, Ben Zifkin, he's CEO. The sexiest CEO in Canada?
I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was the official title.
Of Hubba.com.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then and Saul Colt is here. And Saul is the sexiest person in the universe.
That's true.
Okay,
I'll give
so
them that one.
Can we give some applause for our guests? Okay, thank you, Tony.
That's enough applause, Tony.
Okay, so it's really great that you're here. Thanks for coming here. You're here on a special mission, from what I understand.
So actually, this is the second time on the show. So
that's right.
This is really
He's
exciting.
a repeat.
This is exciting to be in the
Two-peat.
studio because second time in the show, first time wearing pants.
You're in the you're in the twofer club then.
Yeah.
I have wanted to meet Saul for so many years. You guys, you have no idea, Saul. I really did. Because the reason that I do this radio show is because of Bob Norp. I mean, we have a lot kind of this revolving podcasty Norp always getting in the way kind of thing. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, and I love Bob's Beancast.
Bob has one of the best
Yes, he does.
podcasts on the air. Bob
does.
is a true pioneer in podcasting.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for 8
Yeah.
years now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And in the 8 years, I don't think he's missed more than 1 or 2 shows.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's amazing, and it's really the topics that are current and very relevant today in advertising and marketing, and it's always so interesting. And for anybody, I actually had Tony listen at one point because I was trying to explain to Tony about how podcasting is growing and how advertising is getting bigger within the podcast realm, and he's got a lot of media he could be selling, right? Basically, and then I listened to the show, and the Beancast did, and I think you were actually on it. The Beancast was doing.
I've been on it 172
Yes, I know.
times.
Wow.
But on this episode where they were talking about the growth of media in podcasting. And you, I think, were just coming off of maybe doing Zero, the podcast for Zero. And Tony, I think you listened to it and it was really fascinating for you, right? You learned a lot from that. Yeah.
So do you guys want an exclusive?
Yes.
Ben
We would
doesn't
love
even
an
know this.
exclusive.
We will be launching a podcast for Hubba, co-hosted by very own Mr. Bob North.
Oh, really?
It'll be Bob and I doing a Hubbub podcast. It's going to be called The Hubbub because people have to learn what the Hubbub is all about.
Yes.
And it'll be really interesting. But please, let's get back to
Yes.
your show.
Yes, let's get back
I
to
don't want to
my
take all the
show.
attention.
No, it's okay. So anyway, there's on Facebook on C-Spot Talk, Marketing Unfiltered. I think that's the
That's
name
it.
of our show. Okay.
That is it.
I posted. You can open up another browser or whatever, but you can go there and you can find or go to YouTube and find that I think it was 13 minutes or 17 minutes of Ben Zifkin. You were talking about what it was like. I never use notes, but I have notes tonight. You were talking about, the lies, Ben, the lies.
Oh, the lies.
The five
The
lies.
lies.
Yes, the lies.
You know?
Yeah.
And you were going through, you were kind of going through the genesis maybe of Hubba?
Yeah, a
Right?
little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So how do we
Let's
even
talk about
start?
that a
What
little
is
bit.
Hubba? And
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and
It's-
why
there's
are
a lot.
you here?
There's a lot here, so I want.
I know what it is, but I even am a little confused.
No worries. It's actually pretty easy. You know, what we are is really just a network for brands and retailers to connect. And the reason why we do that is because there's so many amazing brands and products out there. We want to make sure that we give everybody the opportunity to get their products out to the world.
Now, when you say brands, because I do come from a long past of invention world,
Sure.
they're not really brands yet, right? These entrepreneurs and these inventors or, you know, people like mini little startups. There's a very big difference in that world of entrepreneurial kind of invention, right? Where it's not quite a brand. What we would define as a brand. You know,
They're
what I'm
still
saying?
products in a sense.
They're a
like
product,
baby
but not really a
brands
brand.
trying to,
Yeah.
establish themselves as brands.
Hubba is a really great platform for those trying to establish themselves as a brand also, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So you mentioned the word baby brands. One of the things that we always use, one of the terms that we always use is craft brands. So it's brands that everybody has a great story. So it doesn't matter really if you're, the big folks like Unilever, but primarily it's a lot of the smaller folks that
Yes.
kind of had these great stories and came from a
And
great
heritage
place.
and
Yeah.
cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's either people coming from, another job that they saw they could do something better, or maybe it's a company that somebody, was, I guess, left, or it was a legacy company that somebody decided to turn around a little bit. And everybody has these amazing stories. So our job is to make sure that they get their voices heard, just like the bigger folks would.
Well, I have dun, 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 dun. I have Easy Go Pro on Hubba, and it's the number 2 toilet stool in the United States.
Amazing.
Right?
Yep.
And this is my entrepreneurial endeavor, and it's on Hubba, right? And I put it on Hubba because I was so freaking sick and tired of having to give, and now I've had to do it 4 times since it's been on Hubba. And why? Because they won't go to Hubba. That's something I need you to figure out, how I convince the person, my distributor for Walmart, to go to Hubba for my assets. Because here's what happens is a retailer or someone's interested in your product, right?
Yep.
And you have all these assets. You have photography, you have logos, you have videos, you have all of this stuff. You find yourself time and time again putting them into a Dropbox or sending them in, and then people are like dragging them out and never putting anything back in, even though the folders are named "Do Not Drag Out."
Do not touch.
Right. No, they can touch it, but they cannot drag it out.
Must leave.
Of Dropbox. Right. So it's very time consuming, especially if you're if you're an entrepreneur and you don't really have a bunch of staff working for you in that capacity.
Yep.
Right. So that's where Hubba works great for me in that.
Well, I'm
in that
really
sense,
interested in this
in that
term
theory.
craft brand, because I feel like Easy Go Pro is almost getting out of that being a craft brand and establishing themselves as a larger brand. But have you found that retailers and consumers are finding more of an interest towards these craft brands than these bigger, Unilever type brands, especially when it comes to beauty products, home products, etc.?
That's a good question,
Absolutely.
John. Now I know why he's on the show.
Thank you.
So,
Wendy.
not to single out anybody, but Target actually does some really interesting regional campaigns with, perfect examples of craft brands. So they will take on people who are, maybe one life cycle above an Etsy shop and put them in Target and really, give
They'll
them.
put them on
I've noticed that.
Target.com and test them on Target.com. Yeah, because to
And-
get into a store is
Well, they've actually done some regional stuff in stores,
regional,
very,
yeah.
very small
Very
footprints.
small.
I've been
but
very
they've done
surprised
something.
as to what I've seen walking through a Target going, wow, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I love
that
Target. I love the
Target's-
guys at there's a rep in a Minneapolis Moscow group that does a lot of Target stuff.
So Target is kind of going into this movement of bringing craft brands into their stores and online shops.
They
is
should.
what you're saying.
I think
Even
more and more.
Martha Stewart has done some interesting stuff in the last couple of years with her Made in America thing, where they can be one-person companies. If
Yeah.
you've got a product that's been made in America, she'll put them online. They will handle logistics, and they do it as a bit of a rev share
Closer?
sort of thing.
Closer?
But
Okay.
but it's really interesting that a brand, with the power and authority that Martha Stewart
Right.
has, even notices some of these amazing companies doing really interesting things.
Right, right. Well, that's sort of where everything's kind of coming from. It's seeping up from the creative,
Well,
puddles, and that's where the
there's
magic
a lot
is
that
happening.
goes into bringing a product to market. I mean, Ben, this is kind of the things that you were talking about.
Sure.
It's the idea of invention and the idea of all of that. Sometimes it could be the biggest curse that ever happened to you. Inventors really do need to know when to cut the cord. Or
Right.
not,
Do you spend
right?
50 years inventing and trying to get this one product, or do you
that nobody wants
Move on
except
to
you
the
and your
next thing.
family.
Right.
Yeah. So there's and they are very different than business people. I say it on my show all the time. They're not, if you're an inventor and an entrepreneur, God bless you. You have it all going on.
especially
Or
a
nothing going
successful
on,
one?
but-
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
or nothing
Yeah.
going on.
You have it all going on or nothing going on. So yeah.
But your odds and your chances of making your product, bringing your product to market and making it grow. I mean, that's the essence of direct response television. That's where it came from. We did direct response television because nobody else would put our products into the stores. And then that section in Target is like, if I could tell you the behind the scenes on how that section actually works, and the television commercials and the media buying and planning, it would blow you away. And
Could
then
you
how
tell
much
us
money
that?
is made
On a
to
different
get
day?
on that as seen on TV shelf. That's some premium space, but it never used to be, right? So
But I
can I
think
tell you? No.
On a
I'll have
different
to kill
day.
you.
I was wondering if it was top secret or for something we could
I'd have
talk
to kill
about.
you.
But I think that world is changing a little bit. You mentioned Target and you mentioned Walmart. Actually, we are one of the very few preferred partners for Walmart to get product content. So
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
your
that's-
distributors should
my
be getting it directly
distributor,
from
that's
Hubba. They should be getting it on Hubba.
Well-
But aside from that, there's so many. I guess there's a huge change in commerce today, and primarily focused
Absolutely.
on this world of decentralization.
Yeah.
Of course.
So if you're this craft brand, it's wonderful to be able to get into the Walmarts and the Targets of the world. But there's so many other places like the marketplaces, which like Amazon and eBay and even the Alibabas of the world. But there's every Facebook buy button. There's every Twitter buy button. Today actually Shopify announced this really amazing opportunity where their own merchants now can basically through text have this product keyboard. So be able to pull up this keyboard called the shop key
Oh, wow.
to be able to immediately embed their links directly into text conversations. So there's just so many other places where commerce is happening that has nothing to do with the retailers anymore. And the retailers are losing a little bit of that power
Well,
because they
they-
used to own it for years and years and years. And now there's other places to buy things that are not in store or at a specific
And that are really speaking to millennials too, and people that are up and with the technology, and that gets them going as well, and within the
Well,
consumerism.
people, I think Saul will agree, and I want
I
you to
agree
chime
already.
in. You will agree. People, just because people get older doesn't mean they stop buying
Of
stuff.
course not.
You have
You
more
know.
disposable
Of course
income.
not. Who do you think keeps the
Sandy, he gave me a copper.
the
a
the TV
chef.
infomercials
My
on?
father made me watch an infomercial this weekend with him that he recorded on the DVR, and then he gave me the copper chef
Really?
pan.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Ben, and I don't want to derail the show or anything, but I've
Oh,
heard
do your
you-
thing. Just talk.
I've heard you do that, like talk about decentralized commerce, and every time you do, it hits me, like right here, like you
Question?
Can I ask you a question about
Yeah.
that?
You can ask me whatever you like.
you don't need to raise your hand.
Well, can you define
It's your show.
decentralized commerce for our listeners?
John, damn it! I want to ask the question.
Sorry.
Okay, so Ben and Saul,
Yeah.
how do you feel? Because I got a whole take on it.
Yeah.
But how do you? Because let me preface it with this.
Sure.
I spend zero advertising on EasyGo Pro.
Yep.
Zero. Right. I
Yep.
ride the wave of my deep pocket competitor that I used to consult for.
Sure.
Okay. I spend zero. Don't tell Joe Jaffe that because he's got zero marketing in the bag or whatever. Okay.
Okay, you're
But
whispering
I
on a
spend
radio
zero.
show.
Why? Because all of my sales are on Amazon. We are on Walmart. We're on Home Depot. We're on all them .coms, right? I don't want to go into the retail shelf. It costs me too much money to go into the
Yep.
retail shelf.
Right.
Too high a risk.
Not worth it.
right? So for entrepreneurs or craft brands,
Yep.
right? There's no better time in the world to launch a product because of the power of Amazon being the world's largest product search engine, right? It doesn't matter about Google anymore. I don't have one SEM. I don't pay 1 penny to Google AdWords, not one.
Sure.
Why? Amazon does it for me, right? As soon as I start to rank on Amazon, they're going to spend their money for me, right? Or my competitor, click on Squanty Putty, and I come up. I'm going to come up.
Or
I'm
it
going to come up
shows
right next to them
similar
on
items,
Amazon.
exactly, because it shows you similar products or products other people also bought, and there's yours.
Well, right, but the point really being with Hubba, because you guys actually just had Health and Wellness Week, yeah, and Easy Go Pro is in the camera section, so we weren't in the Health and Wellness Week because I guess somebody thought it was a camera.
Interesting.
Oh, I wonder.
It's so fun.
How that
It's
happened.
funny.
Yeah.
No, it's I know how it happens. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people think that it's a
pro
an Easy
version.
Go Pro.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's the child
So-
version of the GoPro game.
So it's
So-
kind of funny.
So I'll jump in and say
Yeah.
we did have Health and Wellness Week, but Health and Wellness Week actually never ends. All that really means is we've launched that category.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't mean we disappear. It doesn't mean, just like we have a baby category, sports and
But that's your big
outdoors, we
push
have-
that
we have
week.
Lecture.
Yeah.
So that's how we launch
your category.
Just like we're launching Apparel Week in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So right now, if you search Hubba, the only apparel brands are the people who are eager beavers and saw the potential of Hubba and got in early. But we are making a big, push into apparel, just like you do with Health and Wellness. But Health and Wellness Week actually never ends. So the week terminology might be a little misleading, but we are now full
Maybe
force
launch.
in health and
Yeah.
wellness, and
Yeah, there's a lot.
you'll see content continuously going. So I promise you, we will feature Easy Go Pro.
So this isn't. It's interesting because the platform. I really want to talk about Hubba a lot because it's not for a consumer
Right.
to go to. It is for people with products to go list their products, to be able to not only put their assets up, like I said, but also to connect with the buyers, the retail buyers,
Like a
and the
directory for
retailers.
the buyers almost.
It's
in
not
a
a directory.
sense.
I'm going to let you.
I mean,
speak.
I know it's not a directory, but the visual is.
Did you go to hubba.com?
I did
John?
go to Hubba, and
Okay.
it was. I liked the way it was laid out, and I could see everything in the different categories and sections. So in that sense, it's almost like a directory. It's like a retail. I'm like, okay, what do I need? I want to fill this in my store or whatever.
Yeah,
and I can go
I
here.
can see that. Yeah.
But it's very visual, and it's really. It almost feels like a retail. So it's kind of fun too.
Easy
that
to navigate.
interface is fun, and it's easy to navigate. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
if you think about it there's a few problems that it solves. You mentioned a few of them, but you think about it from the retailer side. If you're a retail buyer and you're in pets, or if you're in a specific category, you probably know 10
What's out
or
there,
20
right?
brands,
Right.
maybe. But what if you can find another 1,000 brands that you've never heard of before?
and
right?
see them.
And understand what's trending,
Yeah.
and what's working, what other people like, and what influencers
Yeah, what
like.
you need to
and
be open to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to be able to get a pulse of what's going on, because everybody's a product person. So that's the big problem that we solve really for the
Yeah,
for the
I think it's
retailers, is to say what's
amazing.
new and what's great out there. And of course, it gives a whole bunch of exposure and spotlight to all these amazing brands that are out there.
Absolutely.
But just by having your information on Hubba, so our whole focus is to say, how do we make the lives of the brands easier? Because the brands are really our customers, the people that we really care about. They have all these amazing stories. How about you put your stories in one spot? So creating this amazing profile about all your products. So all the basic information, of
Yeah.
course, your colors and flavors and size and dimensions, but really the really rich stuff. So all the media, all the great pictures, all the lifestyle shots, all the videos. Get that so you can tell your story the way that you want. And just by virtue of having that on Hubba, a few things happen. One is you can share that either internally if you have several people throughout the organization,
I
or if you have
wish.
big teams.
of course.
Or if you already have these existing relationships like the Amazons of the world or the Walmarts of the world or the Targets of the world, you can just supercharge it, because it really, really sucks to have to fill out these product listing forms. But if your information is already in Hubba, you can automatically generate those product listing forms.
Really?
Oh,
Did
it's
it
so
just
easy.
automatically generates all of
Yeah,
those stupid
exactly.
fields that I hate? I'm a Pisces. I
Terrible.
cannot stand
It's terrible.
fields. On
It really is just
Excel sheet.
it's one button, and we put it right into Amazon's format. And then the third part is it's great to have internal, and it's great to have your existing partnerships, but now how can we expose you to thousands of other buyers?
Right.
And
That's what I
influencers
want.
who
Right.
do it?
That's
So-
what I want.
So depending on what stage you're at, like Hubba's for everybody. So it's great to be that hub, but our job is to be that connection piece between these buyers and
There's
brands.
a problem though today, on the online space which is the only space I think you should be in trying to sell a consumer product. I mean, as a craft brand or even a little bit of a bigger craft brand, it's very hard to control pricing because of the third-party websites, right? So I have brand registry for EasyGo Pro, but it took me about 6 months to even learn about brand registry for EasyGo Pro on Amazon, where I can control things a little bit. Then Amazon kind of starts chomping in, and they want to do your product, and then they start to sell your product. And you go, wait a minute, what are you doing? I'm not selling my product to you. How can it be almost out of stock when there's 1,000 in stock? But it's Amazon kind of manipulating that happens. And then what happens is that on eBay, people will buy from Amazon. So you really have to learn how to control your product, right? So they'll buy your product, and then they'll put it on eBay. And they always have to, if they have to buy it from you on Amazon, because they ain't buying it from me if they're calling me up, the people selling it on eBay, right? They have to buy it from Amazon. So I know then they have to sell it for a lot more because they're buying it at retail from me, right? But it becomes very difficult because the Sears.coms, people don't know this, but Sears.com is a third-party website. Rakuten, I had my product on Rakuten for 6 months. I didn't sell one, not one. And I took it off. It cost me $99. I lost money. I swear.
Damn it.
But meanwhile, on Amazon, every day, we just rock it for nothing. But my point is that with Hubba, EasyGo Pro, we can use mine as an example.
Love to.
It's on Hubba, and I'm seeking to expand my distribution in a controlled fashion, right? Because what if one day Walmart is very pleased and does want to put me in a lot of Walmarts? I'd have to make the decision at that time whether I'll do it or not, right? But Hubba allows it. Hubba brings that connection to me without me having to go find that connection. Go to the trade shows. Well, sorry, I know you love trade shows. Saul.
No, but-
I know you like my brother.
I love trade shows, but if there's
But
a
it's
way
like a
to-
trade show, right?
Yeah.
It is like a trade show. Yeah.
If you think about it, so you mentioned a couple, the different websites, different places where you could list. I could probably list you 1,000 other places you've never even heard of.
I know.
That you haven't even
It's
thought
creepy
about.
and scary,
Yeah,
and
that
then
are
they take my picture and put my picture
but that
up
are
on it.
amazing. so you hit on something that's really important. Actually, something I think is really really important in this world that we've been dealing with. One is this idea of value. So you talk about pricing. And it's been raced to the bottom a lot, where people are really focused on whether it's showrooming, whether it doesn't matter what it is, always about the lowest price. And what we're finding primarily, it's about the value. It's about story. So people will pay $15 if they think that it's worth $30. Yeah. But people won't pay $5 if they think it's worth $1. So the job that we're trying to do right now is say there's a reason why you exist, right? You created your product. Everybody creates their product for a specific reason that's better than somebody else. So their eco commitment, the materials that they use.
Because I know everybody wants to take a good poo. So there you go.
Perfect. But
ubiquity, man. Ubiquity.
Yeah, but you've mentioned a partner as well. You mentioned a competitor as well. So there's
I
a
worked
reason
for
why
them. I was their consultant.
But there's a reason why yours is better than theirs. And there's
because I work for them.
There you go. But you now need to be able to get that story out so that the person who's buying isn't just looking at that price. And the price is a good piece of it. But
my design is much improved. Also,
exactly. There's something that makes you special, and the whole point is to be able to get that out to somebody who's making that decision. Because when you're dealing with millennials, when you're dealing with all these amazing informed buyers, price is important, but the quality.
Reviews are everything.
Yeah, but it's the quality, it's the story, it's that's the value, and people will buy for value. So our job is to try and get that value out versus just focusing on the race to the bottom for these price points.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll say, it's but people will ask me, so how come you don't price it really low and just blow the socks off of your competition? It's like, well, why would I do that? Why would I do that? So, but there's John, you were going to say something?
Well, I had a question about Hubba, but if you're
no, go ahead.
You're on a
no, I know I'm on a Wendi roll.
You're on a Wendi roll. I have a couple questions about Hubba. My first one is, let's say you mentioned you were launching your apparel section soon. Your apparel moment is happening soon. So let's say I have a T-shirt line and I want to be on Hubba. I register, go through whatever process. Is it an automatic that I'm going to get on it, or do you guys go through and figure out who like, no, this isn't a product that we want to
No,
stand
they're
behind?
not. They're not
or-
HSN buyers now.
So anyone can upload a product on Hubba. We're not we don't block anybody.
Okay.
But as far as putting like you said, Amazon, if they see a kernel of interest and they do things, we do single out some brands that we just think are amazing, and we put a little bit more attention
Sure.
behind them, and we showcase them through our various channels and things like that. But we don't block anyone from coming, and because there's no way we would actually know where all the
That's
most
right.
amazing brands are. So we want everyone in, and like I am constantly amazed by some of the amazing companies that are in Hubba that I've never heard of. Just yesterday I spent probably 2 hours with this woman who has a company called Surfer. It's SURFFUR.com. So it's like Surfer. And,
yeah.
and she's making these warming jackets for people who, like, if you do anything in the water, whether it's fishing, diving, kayaking, surfing, all these things, you get out of the water, you're freezing, you put on this, like, they call it a water hoodie, and you can actually, like, it's big and it's crazy.
That
and it's
kind of
warm.
sounds genius, and like everybody needs one.
It's amazing, and like I'm not in that world. I would never find this, but the 2 hours I spent with this woman, I actually want one of these
Right.
because it's amazing, and like to hear the care and the process that's gone through. Like nobody could find all these brands unless we let everyone in, and then I literally pour through everybody who comes in because I'm looking for those gems, those people that we could tell their stories. And when I say we want to tell stories, like it's amazing to tell stories of recognizable brands, and we do sprinkle those in. But like Ben said, the companies that are the most interesting are the companies like EasyGo Pro and like Surfer. And we met this woman the other day who has a company called Nutzo, Nuttzo, and she designed a peanut and seed spread, like an organic, like peanut butter, but it's an organic,
But healthy.
But all because she had adopted a child, her son, and her son had like no tolerance to like North American food. He was used to something different from the country, the thing, and she created this
wow.
product. So like you always hear like on the level, you think you know the story of everything, but when you hear like what actually
The
went into
inspiration.
creation, the inspiration, all this stuff, like I could listen to those stories all day long. 'Cause
And
they're
I think
always
so many
fascinating.
consumers connect with that aspect of
Well,
the product.
the social environment gives us the ability to tell our stories like we've never been able to before, right? I've listened for years of these stories from these inventors, but they've never really had that platform to tell their story, and they didn't know how to tell their story either. But nevertheless, there's some really awesome stories that are out there that, every time I'm in Bed Bath & Beyond, I'll walk. Just the other day, I was in Bed Bath & Beyond, and I said to the girls returning something that I actually ripped, but I told her it didn't fit. But anyway, I said, oh, look, I know these girls, the Drain Wig, the girls that invented the Drain Wig, right? And they presented a product at the Houseware Show at one point on the Inventors thing. But I love those girls, and I know so many of these inventors that go on Shark Tank, and it's like, I saw that product 6 years ago, and I told them, change the colors, and look at what happened. He changed the colors.
That's so
there's
cool.
all of these wonderful things that happen when you're working with these people who are inspired to pursue this dream that they have, which makes everything so rewarding. And that's really, I think, kind of the essence of really what Hubba is.
Let's give them the stage.
And does Hubba connect you? So if I find a product on Hubba that I like,
John,
Yeah,
can
so
I
we gotta
ask
go
you
break.
a favor?
Yeah.
Can you take us to break, and we'll be back in 3 minutes?
yeah, we gotta take a quick break. We'll be back in 3 minutes, everybody.
Thank you.
There you go.
I have to
You
take
did
this
that
off
really
my head.
well.
you.
If you need direct response television media planning and buying, then Direct Avenue is your best bet. Besides being a media specialty, direct response television advertising is the smartest form of advertising today. Direct Avenue is a short form media agency where direct response meets branded television advertising. It takes master planning, negotiating, buying, tracking, and reporting to run an effective advertising campaign in order to have sustainable growth. I've been nothing but impressed with everyone at Direct Avenue. As a CMO consultant, I need to feel connected to the entire supply chain of a campaign, and I trust that Direct Avenue is doing the best job possible. Direct Avenue understands the urgency in planning, negotiating rates, flexibility, and agility in leveraging relationships that allow for a smart and efficient media test. The leadership at Direct Avenue know their sweet spot, and they stick to it. These days, media planning and buying supported with the best systems to track transactions from phone, mobile, web, social, and search back to your media dollars is what it's all about if you want to grow your campaign and deliver a robust ROI. Direct Avenue has been around for a long time and delivering great services for many years. In fact, here's the number of Scott Kowalczyk, the CEO. 760-579-4210. That is his direct number. Again, it's 760-579-4210. Or you can go to directavenue.com, check them out, and get a free analysis for your campaign. When was the last time a CEO gave out his direct number on radio? Well, that just goes to show you what Scott's all about. So call Scott at 760-579-4210.
In an average lifetime, 1,500,000 minutes are spent on the toilet. So what's the problem?
When you sit on a toilet, you're at a 90-degree angle.
Nature didn't want us to do it that way.
This causes pushing, straining, hemorrhoids.
That's crazy.
We want to create a product that is great for humanity.
Well, go time just got easier. Introducing EasyGo Pro, the only way to go.
Anatomically, we were designed to eliminate at a 35-degree angle.
You just sit, lift, and go in a natural position.
The benefits list is this long from a pure health perspective.
A healthy colon is encouraged by doctors for all ages.
The key to vitality, it's the key to longevity, it's the key to your health.
Be a healthy goer. Order now at EasyGoPro.com. Try it for 70 days. If you don't absolutely feel better, just send it back for a full product refund. Go time just got healthier at EasyGoPro.com.
Oh, hey, we're back.
Well, back. Welcome back, everybody.
Okay, wait. I am not going to have a mind fart this time. So for anybody that listens to the EasyGo Pro commercial, which people who download the show do, you can't buy the product at EasyGoPro.com anymore. And this is interesting. So that commercial says you can get it at EasyGoPro.com, right? And we are talking about a toilet stool, by the way, for those that aren't seeing the commercial if you're not watching on YouTube. I have to say this because I recently changed my website to not be a transactional website because no one was buying on my website. They were all just going to my website, which I was smart enough to put a click through to Amazon on it, right? But no one was buying on it anymore. And I've come from the creating direct response websites for many years. You know, I know how to capture that person, right? So I said, okay, I just created a website that just says, if you want this one, you can buy it at Amazon. Click here. You can buy it on Walmart if you want the EasyGo Kids, because we have EasyGo Kids, right? And I made it a non-transactional website, which I think everyone should do.
Is your link to Amazon? Do you also have the affiliate link so you keep another 6%?
No, they won't let you do that. You'll get kicked off of Amazon. And when Amazon is 99% of your revenue, you do not want to get kicked off like I got kicked off of Facebook. But what did I just
So you can
say
find
that?
EasyGo Pro on Amazon. Bottom line.
And Walmart.com.
And
Home
Walmart.com,
Depot.com.
yeah. And I love Amazon. It's
You
like
were-
90% of my shopping. But anyway, enough about Amazon.
Yes.
I'm really fascinated in this road trip that Saul mentioned that he's going on from California to New York.
and what's happening here in LA tomorrow night?
Yeah. So
Yes, let's start there and take us to New York.
So this is actually a big week for Hubba. You know, like we sort of hinted that we've launched Health Week and we're launching Apparel Week. But what we've actually done is we actually changed the website a considerable amount to the point where now it's open. It used to be password protected. It used to be more of like
I was wondering
an
about
industry
that.
thing. So
Yeah.
we now are open for anyone who wants to do product research and discovery. And one of the things that Ben purposely left out when he was talking about brands and retailers, because he wanted me to pick up, because that's how we work together. We're like a modern day Burns and Allen.
A modern day who?
Yeah. But,
John doesn't
I'm
know.
just laughing along with it.
doesn't know
Burns
who
and
that
Allen.
But because we're actually open now and we aren't, behind a password, we've actually opened it up for influencers that are a big part of what Hubba does now. So it is all about brands and retailers and connecting, but it's also about now influencers can come in and they can connect with brands and they can connect with retailers. And the influencer, we're still very early in the influencer and we're sort of like building it as we go. But I really see this being a platform for influencers to really do a lot of connecting and increasing their brand portfolios.
Oh, yeah,
in the companies that they work
absolutely. I
with.
was
John?
yes.
Sorry. I have to say this.
Please.
Here's what happens, though, is they get connected. to the influencers, and then they don't really know what to do. You know, so
But that's an education piece, and we are going to be rolling out a lot of
Yeah.
content around that stuff.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
that's why I built my business, my C Spot Run, in 1997, was because people just didn't know what to do, and that's where that came from. was-
Or how to poo.
or well, no,
Yeah, that was a bad
in 2005, I taught people how to poo with the
Makes
relaxing
your
cleanse.
poo coo.
I've been in the pool business a long time, but truly, it's something to consider because making those connections and bringing the people together is awesome. But you know, how many of the deals on Shark Tank really get made? You know, so that education element is really so important in the fostering, maybe even a little bit of fostering. You know,
So back to me.
Yes.
sorry, Saul.
I'm just kidding. So what we're doing is, you know, we're throwing a little event tomorrow night at the Roxy, and we have.
I'm coming.
Awesome.
That's amazing. So we have a really amazing DJ. Peanut Butter Wolf is DJing, and Jim Mahfood, is a friend of mine, is doing live art there. So it's going to be this amazing spectacle. But you know, we're bringing people into the room so we can actually have conversations and talk to them about, you know, what's going on with Hubba, introduce it to the first time for a lot of people, and create this really interesting experience that'll drive people to check it out and tell the story. I've been here for 3 days already. We have a video crew that's working with us. We are going and meeting as many customers as time permits, and we're shooting.
You'll love my backyard. Come
Oh,
to
yeah.
El Segundo. Come to Manhattan Beach. I'll buy you lunch. I'm
well.
serious. I work out of my home. Jesus.
She'll buy you lunch.
Come on over. You want to see one of those Spanish little bungalow California houses? I'll go
They are
one.
cute. They are cute.
Back to me.
So then, okay, so yeah, back to the
Me and
party.
you, Saul. Me and you.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
kidding with you. It's your show. But you know, so getting in a car, driving New York. We're stopping in Vegas, Utah, Denver, Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, Cleveland, and New York.
Wow.
And we're going to be doing this like
It's a good time of
crazy.
year to do that, though.
It is, but you know,
No
what?
tornadoes or anything like
The
that.
one mistake I made when I was planning this out and setting like
Saul
figuring
made
out
a mistake,
how long
everybody.
it would take. Going west to east, I'm losing time instead of going east to west.
Oh,
So-
right.
So I'd be like, oh, we're going to be in the car for this amount of time, and then I realize we cross a time zone, and we have to
and you're,
drive that much quicker.
you're totally messed up by
How much time are you giving yourself to
total
get
of
there?
6 hours.
We're going to be in New York on the 25th is the last day of the trip. But
Oh,
we're-
so you're
Yeah.
getting through it pretty quickly.
we are not going to be sightseeing.
It's
You're not
Saul's-
lollygagging,
Saul's
no.
village.
No.
He's going on a road show.
We are going to shoot between 3 and 5 videos a day and drive a considerable amount of time. So
Oh, God bless you.
And then
I
your
hope you're-
TV crew's following
I
you
hope-
on
I
this.
hope-
it's just me and them. We're like
I
we're
hope
going
you're
to be
taking
shooting.
good show notes. Please take good script notes for whoever is going to be editing all of this
Oh,
material.
they-
Please
they're
take good script notes.
I'm very fortunate to work with 2 of the most professional people, so they know what they're doing. I put myself in
one of
their
them.
hands.
You know, one of them.
I just did a video of 9 hours of researchers for Banbury. You know the Banbury. They have these great medical research conferences at Banbury in New Jersey.
Not
It's where the
familiar with it.
Human Genome Project was started and all that. So I just recently did a video of 9 hours. I volunteered because it's for a good cause for BRCA. I'm a BRCA patient. I'm over cancer survivor. And so I said, okay, I didn't think your video was very good at this dinner I went to for, and I said, and 72 and Sunny, right? So who's sitting next to me but the guy that owns 72 and Sunny's wife, Jennifer, I think was
Oh,
her
Lordy.
name. And I just kind of went, what's with that video? So then I said, well, I think I can do one better. And I did. But there was 9 hours of the most boring research footage interviews you have ever freaking seen in my life. Did a great job, but it was really no script notes, no nothing. So I'm just saying, it's important.
I'm working
Yeah,
with some
on
really
with the
great
production
people.
schedule,
Yeah.
you need to have those. You got to
Yeah.
get everything down. So there's no
Yeah. I
shuffling
love
around
being
last
creative
minute.
in that respect, and it's fun to go and shoot all that stuff. But then you get to the dark room, and the dark room is dark. And it's like
Emotionally,
where
man.
The fuck were we when we shot this stuff? What were we thinking?
You're right,
why
because when
didn't
you're
we
there,
get
you
a
think you can
hand
remember
shot?
it. Then all of a sudden, you're like, "Fuck, we forgot this pickup shot," or "Why didn't we get this?" or "Where was the?" Yeah.
I'm telling you, you'll remember me. You'll remember me in about 45 days.
I
You'll
remember
say,
you always.
Wendi said.
So you're going to be tweeting along the way and
A lot of
doing
social
like,
media, a lot
yeah.
of everything like the.
What are you
so-
incorporating into this road trip?
So we're doing all these collecting these brand stories, we are going to do some editing along the way, but these stories will really trickle out at the end. So the plan is to sort of like, bombard people with a lot of really interesting social and things like that, so they can be a part of it and they can see the companies we're talking to and they can see that we're actually following through on this crazy like promise that we're doing, and we're going to create little videos every day and stuff like that. But the real beautiful polished brand stories will come at the end of it. So we want to keep people, we're not trying to trick them or tease them, but showcase these brands in a very small way now, and then really do something special.
A little
for them.
appetizer, so
exactly.
to speak. And then main course, and just boom, lobster tail and filet mignon, baby.
That's right. And along the way, we're going to do like a lot of like Hubba stuff. So like, we've, I don't want to spoil anything. I want people to see it, but there's going to be brand stories and we're going to be telling Hubba stories. And there's a lot of things around Hubba that people don't know. And I think we're going to have really one of the first definitive, videos describing what actually Hubba does, but do it in a really interesting way. So a lot of people come to the site and they think it's really interesting, but they compare us to this or they compare us to that.
Because they don't quite get it.
I want to do videos of enough about you, Saul. And your
Okay,
trip.
that's fine. It's your show. Listen, I appreciate being here.
No, Saul, I'm joking.
No, come on.
Ben,
Yes, ma'am.
are you awake?
I am here. Yeah.
This is the first Ben is hearing of any of this. He thought I was flying home with
Ben
him.
is going like this the whole time. So Ben, what I would like to do is I would like to propose that we create a video series of Ben's 5 lies. Okay, but you turn them into the Ben's 5 lies, but they become the educational portions of Hubba.
Sure.
Really, it's like, why is this lie number 1 being an inventor is an absolutely awesome thing? Why is that lie number 1? No, but there's a really great tipping point to go over and say, well, here's why, right? And there's so much meat there that can be spoken to, right?
Yeah,
Each of your points like
Can I
that.
just pipe
Yeah,
in for a
go.
second?
Yeah, it's
Ben is Canada's greatest CEO. So if he agrees to
Sexiest.
this, I don't know if he's going to agree to it. If he agrees to this will be a boom for you guys because this guy can pull an audience.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and you can speak.
Let's do it.
I'm serious. It would be awesome because I think that these points, when you said these points in my illustrious 25-year career, I'm telling you, I'm going right on.
Yeah,
Right on,
I think
you
that
know?
part of this is actually there's one thing that I screwed up in that presentation. One of the lies I talked about was don't do what you love, or at least pretend you
You-
understand what you love because.
You think I love doing this?
Well, no, but you love building businesses, right? You love building businesses, or you love doing something
I
important,
love helping other people do their businesses and then do their
pardon the
business.
pun. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I
Right.
loved, and that's how I thrived. I got into this business in 1994 by having the first juice therapy infomercial that was huge, right?
Sure.
Then I got out of it because I just said, okay, I just want to help people do it. I don't want to actually do it because running a business sucks.
Yep.
First one to say it's really, 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 really difficult. And you
Yeah.
nailed it when you talked about how difficult it really was.
Thank you. But the for me, this isn't the first business I've had, right? So I've done several businesses before. The idea of doing what you love was for me was I love building businesses. This was just a great industry because the opportunity was so big.
Yeah.
What's changed over the last year is I'm really starting to see how we've become the champion for these smaller
Yes,
craft
thank
brands.
you.
And it is
Yes.
an unbelievable thing to wake up in the
Yes.
morning and help people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's really cool.
It's
And-
really
And
cool.
I'm learning how my love has shifted a little bit. Building a business is great, but
And
now
they
actually
need
having
you.
that mission is great as well. And because most of these folks are entrepreneurs themselves, it's amazing that you have that connection a little bit because you feel that pain. Exactly what we were talking about there. You feel that pain a little bit.
I dedicated my whole life to helping other people in the business, right? And helping other people. So everybody is a product and everybody. And I mean, I was serious when I said take my name and Google it with inventor or C-Spot Run. It's been a long time. And I actually was really kind of screwed by that whole invention, greedy industry that's out there, and trying to protect the inventors, really, the inventor, the entrepreneur, the unknowing, the crafty brand, right? That's why they have to be protected in a certain way. So if you open the door for them, please make sure that you also
one of the
educate
most
them.
beautiful things I realized is it's always been about connecting brands and retailers, what we talk about. But what we're finding just organically, just brands connecting with other brands, just, these craft brands being able to talk to each other, because everybody feels the struggle. Everybody knows how hard it is to fill out those forms or to try and knock down Walmart's door, or to try and figure what the heck is this SEO thing like.
Onboarding, what the hell is
Exactly,
that?
Exactly. So because, and actually going back to one of your earlier points of can you just put all this stuff in? How do you filter? Well, we let the community do that, right? There's an amazing community around it. And I think that's what's been missing a little bit, is it's been very kind of cutthroat, siloed on your own. And all of a sudden we've created this community where everybody can kind of work together or connect together.
You do have
Brands,
to make sure,
retailers,
just talking from
influencers.
experience, if I might add, give you a little advice, you do have to not accept, because people might start putting up prototype stuff and things that have no real logos.
Or just they're
if you want that,
right.
that's fine, but those are really that deep inventor mentality that has no real true business.
But can you imagine how beautiful it would be to be able to indicate it, but to launch and say this is a launchable
here's
product.
what'll happen.
Almost like a startup.
And the ability to get feedback on it from an entire community pre-launch before you put $1 into it.
You know what?
There's a great opportunity to do that.
That could be a whole nother section. To
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So
It's-
people know
separate.
what they're looking at.
It's separate.
I have a
but,
question
yeah.
about your product. So are we able to see, and from my research, I wasn't really able to tell. It was kind of quick in and out throughout the day. But if there are products that no retailers are necessarily picking up on or responding to or buying or moving forward with, do you show those analytics? So okay, let's say I own a shop and I want to know what the hottest items in these categories are, and this is what everybody else is buying, so I want to buy those. Do you have those sort of analytics?
Good
Or if a
question.
product just really isn't doing anything and it's just kind of taking up space and it's not really, nobody's picking it up, is there kind of okay, it's been 6 months, you're off now?
Yeah, so it's very, very much kind of, and trending's a bad word, but it's really, getting those analytics behind it. We're a huge data platform, so you can imagine all of the information that we have. So, so it's not really just about dropping those people off. The first thing is to be able to go back to those folks who have a real reason why they're building this product and say hey, here are the things that could resonate better.
Right.
Out of thousands
People aren't
of,
responding, et cetera, et
listen,
cetera.
we have 10,000 companies on this platform just really in the last 18 months.
Wow.
We grow
And you still have
unbelievably quick.
categories to build out, too.
Yeah, we're,
so
ju-
that's
we're
crazy.
just getting started. So it used to take us about 140 days. It took us to bring on our first 1,000 companies. And now we've done 1,000 companies in about 3 days if we wanted to do it. So we're really in that huge kind of community growth phase. So for us, what we care about is being able to help the community, which is saying sure, maybe it's not working right now. Have you thought about this, this, and this?
Right.
Or maybe your descriptions aren't great because we know that these types of things resonate, or you don't have enough pictures. Or
So you even work with your...
it's
Well,
all
you
the
have
data,
to
right?
because it's you kind of have to. I have a question.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
sure.
That's
I
great.
just want to say I had a great point about 6 minutes ago, and now
And
it's
now it's
gone.
gone.
It's just, well, I still have it. It's
It
just
was
not.
genius.
It's not.
It's not relevant.
It's not
My
relevant.
question wasn't either. I just kind of had to
Saul, what can
make
I
your
do
point.
to make it relevant?
Go. I'm enjoying this.
Well, I'm looking at the clock, and we have we're going to go a little bit over because we didn't start until late, Tony. We have 4 or 5 more minutes. It's really, and I have a joke here on my show that it kind of always circles back to me, but it freaking does. And I can't help it. Here's why. This is what I want to say. Years ago, there was no connection place for spirited product people, new product inventors, new product people. Whether it's a game, it's a tchotchke, whatever it is, it doesn't make any difference. It's going to change your life with a freaking toilet stool. Who cares? But there was no place for that connection to be made because buyers have egos. Merchant buyers, retailers have egos. I did a lot of work on HSN QVC. I mean, that space is that you don't get on air unless you sell $8,000 a minute. And if you do get on air, they're going to return all your product if you don't sell $8,000 a minute. And people will do anything to get on air, right? So in inventing these things and in creating these things called the product showcase, where inventors would actually go before a panel of respected buyers and things like this, which still to this day is at the Houseware Show. It was the only way to connect in a safe way these entrepreneurs or inventors with the buyers in a really kind of safe forum, right? That's what I wanted for everybody, was a safe forum, education opportunity. Hubba, for me, I think that is kind of going away. All of these kind of like sleazy invention, pitch your product. Get here if pay Kevin Harrington, $5,000 to learn how to do the 2-minute pitch. When just call me, I'll teach you how to do the 2-minute pitch for free. Right?
Is Kevin Harrington the guy with the question marks on his?
No, I wish he was, but he should be. Kevin was one of the sharks, the original sharks. He's I've known Kevin for a very long time, but there's a reason he was an original and only an original shark. There you go. Okay. But the inventor, this world is out there that you see, and Hubba is a place that hopefully can bring together everyone in a safe environment, in a really awesome place where the egos, I wrote down here, the egos of these retail buyers, I deal with it every day. I've dealt with it for 25 years. Their egos are so big, and tomorrow they probably won't have a job, right? But their egos are so big, and it's all cubic foot freaking shelf space driven, right? That you can't get in front of these people. So you have to have a place where you can get in front of these people. And that's what I had created, and that's what you created, is a place that you can get in front of these people easily without having to bang that door down. And it's an amazing, amazing opportunity and an incredible thing that you're doing with Hubba.
That's a really sweet thing for you to say, but I don't get the joke.
Did I say it was a joke?
You said you have this great joke. I've been hanging
Did
on
I say
for
that?
It's kind of a red herring.
Oh, sorry. Wow.
Wow, wow.
That's great. Thank you.
No, truly. And I see your passion, and I always admire people who have this new passion and Saul's passion for them. I'm 60. I'm going to be 61 in a month, and it's something that I love. It's something that I love to see people who really want to honor these craft brands as opposed to abuse them, take advantage of them, which is the typical and the norm. I've seen people write checks, inventors write checks for $30,000, $50,000. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. And so, thank you. I'm just, probably a good way to kind of wrap it. But look, can we talk about what's happening at the Roxy tomorrow night or not?
Yes, sure. So, and if anyone wants to come, send me an email at scolt@hubba, and we'll
Colt at Hubba.
Yeah.
Just like the gun.
Yeah.
But so tomorrow, it's going to be a really amazing event. We're going to try to really spread the news of what Hubba does. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting mix of people. Some people who love Hubba, some people who have never heard of Hubba before, and we're going to get the people who love them to speak to the people who haven't heard of it. And it's going to be a really interesting and fun night.
Well, it's at the Roxy, and the Roxy should
The
be
Roxy's
fun.
super cool
Last
and
time
always fun.
I went to the Troubadour not too long ago, and I was like, you know how every party has a dance queen?
Were you the dance queen?
You're gonna have
It
to
was
take
Dave
that title
Stewart.
away from Saul tomorrow.
Dave Stewart, Annie Lennox, Dave Stewart. So it was Dave Stewart, and Andy Garcia was on the bongos, and I was like, my hair was still long and awesome, and it was like 2 months ago, and I was like, woo!
Still long and
I was
awesome.
the dance queen. Yeah, it was so good. I had forgotten what the Troubadour was actually like.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Well, you'll have to find your
so-
dance king tomorrow.
Well, my husband's going to come with us tomorrow night, with me tomorrow night. So.
All right, well, he can be the dance king then.
Yeah, he probably
I'm sure
will be.
he
will be.
has the moves.
Oh my God! Yeah, he will. Please don't play any disco music. Sorry. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. Saul, you're going to be at the Roxy tomorrow night. Anybody that wants to, we actually do have about 15,000 people that are watching and listening now. So
check out hubba.com. It's really cool. I mean, even if you're not a retailer or a
product
inventor,
person.
just go and check it out because it's actually really cool. And
there's really
you'll
great
find
articles
things you want
and
through
blogs.
it.
Mm-hmm. So that's where you're mixing the education and the all of that stuff with everything
Yeah, and
else.
also the
I love what you're
tastemaker
doing.
thing you were mentioning. Like I was going through it and I was like, oh, this is cool. I've never heard of this. This is so cool. And I'm kind of in my head curating.
Okay, wait, Tony, I need one more minute. Ben, Saul, any plans for it to become a transactional website?
Like an e-commerce deal?
Our focus right now is the B2B world.
Yeah.
Good.
But if we own that connection, it's a powerful place to be.
Yeah, you just have to make sure to drive a whole heck of a lot of
Our job is to connect.
Traffic.
And to help
Better go to
a
Amazon.
lot of people. Then we'll worry about everything else.
That's awesome. I think it's great. Well,
I think
thank
it
you.
sounds really cool.
Thank you
thanks
for
so
being
much
here.
for coming
No
here,
worries.
you guys.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate
This
it.
was really amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
this will be up on YouTube tomorrow, and
It's going to be up on hubba.com as well, because this was really amazing. This is probably, and you can pipe in, this was one of the first platforms that Ben's been able to really like explain sort of the vision, all these things. So thank you so much for having us.
Oh, that's
'cause
great.
this
Well, you
was
did a
really
really
amazing
good job
platform.
of explaining it, because I wanted to kind of hear, okay, what is this really about? What's going on here? And you answered all my questions.
John Hamilton, I love you. And let's hear it. Can we have an applause for our segment producer, Cassidy Weiss? Cassidy Weiss. All right, we're going to sign off. Saul, Colt, Ben Zifkin of Hubba.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you
much for coming.
See you tomorrow night. Safe travels home and safe travels across the U.S.
Wendy,
John,
signing off.
I'm sweating. We got
Are
to go.
you sweaty? You got to get out of this room, Wendy.
Bye.
All right, cheers. Bye, guys.
C-Spot Talk
Thanks, guys.
Marketing Unfiltered is made possible by our sponsors, Direct Avenue, the television media agency where you can expect more. Contact them at directavenue.com. Ending music is courtesy of Tom Orsi at Orsi Digital. You can download audio episodes of C-Spot Talk Marketing on iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher, or enjoy the full-length video uncut on YouTube. Just search for C-Spot Talk in your directory, and while you're there, make sure to subscribe. Special thanks to John Hamilton and Tony Sweet for making Tuesdays the best night of the week. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just send me an email at wendy@cspotrun.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week.